There was an idea to build a land that celebrated one of the biggest franchises ever in the world of entertainment. It was called the Marvel Land Initiative. It would bring together some remarkable characters. In said land, visitors would be able to swing across buildings with Spider-Man and enter the many comic book worlds of Marvel? Wait, what's this? This isn't Avengers Campus.
Oh boy!
Before we begin, if you are new around here, welcome. I talk about theme parks all the time, from the past to the future. So if you enjoy this, make sure to subscribe. I also have YouTube memberships if you want to go even further. Now, let's jump into it. Let's go back a little. Wait, no, forward. Back to the future. In 2021, the first Avengers Campus opened to the public in Disney's California Adventure, in the Disneyland Resort in California. This land would then be brought to Europe with several changes to open in the second gate of the resort, Walt Disney Studios Park. In Anaheim, the Avengers settled in what was once known as Bugs Land, based on the Pixar film It's Tough to Be a Bug, which according to the history was shrunk down using technology from Ant-Man? Well, either way, the storyline of the land is that the Avengers Initiative evolved into a brand new global phenomenon. With the help of Tony Stark, the Avengers set up new headquarters around the world to share technology and ideas to ultimately empower and inspire new recruits, willing to step up and become heroes themselves. The land was built, according to the story, in abandoned grounds of a Stark Industries plant and a strategic scientific reserve complex, an early SHIELD type of organization. Tony and the Avengers set everything up with state-of-the-art technology, and soon recruits started flooding in. The Worldwide Engineering Brigade, or WEB for short, is focused on bringing the world's youngest engineers together to build innovative technology for the future. But then, something goes wrong, and it's up to the visitors of the open house to help Spider-Man and save the day. Here in the Californian version, there's one more ride, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, where you're invited to explore the amazing collection of rarities of the one and only Collector. Then your tour is interrupted by Rocket that brings you along to save the Guardians. In Paris, this ride does not exist, but a second ride is also present, and that is Avengers Assemble Flight Force. Here, you enter the Avengers HQ as they need your help. Are you starting to see a pattern here? Oh well, as they need your help to save the planet from incoming Kree missiles alongside Iron Man and Captain Marvel. Attractions are not all, as many experiences, themed restaurants and shops await you in both of these lands. Now, this is what we ended up getting in California Adventure and Walt Disney Studios. But what few realize is that several years ago, Imagineering started a project that would later become Avengers Campus. A project much different and in a completely different tone. So, let's explore the originally proposed Marvel Land. In the early 2010s, Disneyland Paris saw that the right side of their second park, the backlot, was bad. Like really bad. This land consisted of 2 restaurants, the very large Lights, Motors Action Stunt Show, and 2 attractions, Armageddon the special effects, and Rock and Roller Coaster. The first would see guests enter a hot set where the movie would be filmed, and after a big pre-show enter a recreation of the space station near from the movie, where lights, sound, and a big explosion with fire and more effects took place. This was a 22-minute experience and had a very small capacity. The other attraction, Rock and Roller Coaster, starring Aerosmith, featured a cardboard entrance that combined quite well with all the asphalt. Here guests would enter the rock and roll world of the band as they want to create their own roller coaster. The track is an exact clone of the one from Hollywood Studios in Orlando, but the ride didn't have the set pieces found inside. Rather, it featured many stage lights that attempted to recreate an Aerosmith concert. Some years after building and opening the park, Disney realized that this whole land was actually pretty bad, and that something had to be done about it. And so, Imagineers proposed the Marvel Land, the first in Disney Parks history. The whole area would be completely transformed and themed to a New York City straight from the comic books and movies, being a mixture of the Marvel superhero island in Universal's Islands of Adventure and the more down-to-earth Avengers Campus. There's a lot happening in this low-quality leaked concept art, so I attempted to enhance the quality a little bit to understand. But let's dig in. First things first, the elevated cable car at the entrance would greet you into this New York land. It's unknown if it would actually move and transport people, but hopefully it would. This is not the first time we hear about this transportation method in Disneyland Paris, because the original Main Street USA would include this exact attraction that would bring guests from the entrance of the park to a Discoveryland station. I talked about this amazing gangster-filled Main Street in this video if you want to learn more. Well, after passing under the cable car, guests would find themselves in a bustling New York-themed street with stores and restaurants in each side. On the left, it looks like you could get some New York-style pizzas and other items and even eat in one of the tables outside. One big change this would bring is the scale. The buildings would be tall, most being 3 stories tall, which would truly immerse those who entered. High-rise facades would further immerse guests, as these would be placed everywhere, even behind Tower of Terror, so that the Twilight Zone wouldn't ruin the immersion. On the right, where Armageddon was, would be a Stark Industries themed building. Now we don't know what will replace the special effects attraction in particular, but it's safe to assume that it would be a ride or attraction themed to Iron Man. Look at the giant arc reactor on the entrance and the big Stark logo on top. Well, we don't actually need to assume, as can be seen in this background, that it's exactly what would be placed here, an Iron Man themed attraction. This is where today you can find Web Adventure, so maybe the ride could be similar to this, but themed to Iron Man and not Spider-Man. Moving forward, you would see more buildings, shops, and restaurants, but before reaching the end of the street, a huge building and incredibly large high-rise facades would catch the attention of everyone. Here, a truly re-themed rock and roller coaster can be found, so let's go in, shall we? Passing under the Spider-Man figure and entering the building, you would get all the information and pre-shows as usual, just like how Flight Force kindly invites you to do so. But then, the actual ride would be completely different to what currently occupies the building, in the sense that it would be themed. The great and thrilling launch would put you right in the middle of New York City, filled with cars, signs, streetlights, and huge, and I mean huge buildings, as a battle between the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and the villain Green Goblin takes place. The coaster will be divided into 2 main parts, a heavily themed one and one not so much, simulating the outskirts of New York and the bustling city. Every twist and turn inside the city would have buildings and theming extremely close to the tracks that give a much more thrilling experience and truly feel like you're swinging with Spidey himself. The 2 characters would be found throughout the ride many times, fighting, escaping, and fighting some more. Imagineers would actually recreate some famous buildings from the city that never sleeps. The Chrysler Building and the Flatiron Building can be seen here. One effect I personally love is this facade here. It's very bent into the tracks and loop. This would make it feel like a very last-minute twist, or guests would drive into that building. Continuing, making its way through the tracks, many other structures and turns would appear and happen, such as this one through a construction zone, or this slower section in one of the many bridges from the city. After going through everything, the trains come to a complete stop in a well-themed street with heavy traffic, completing the New York experience. After leaving the attraction through what would probably be a gift shop, guests would see what still is the Lights Motors Action Stunt Show arena to this day, but here with completely new facades and amazing theming. It's unclear what type of attraction this would be, but it looks like an indoor arena that could have some amazing Marvel-themed stunt shows, similar to the much smaller stunt performances that happen on the roofs of Avengers Campus today. It's extremely likely that this project later became Avengers Campus, and to mitigate the costs, the research and development was shared with the Disneyland Resort. The campus is, in most parts, a retheme of what was previously there, with very similar structures, with a restaurant, a not-themed gravity show building, and others. In my opinion, it was a huge downgrade from this highly immersive, incredibly themed land. But unfortunately, this never happened. Flight Force has lasted 1/10 of the amazing theming the Spider-Man coaster would have, with some screens sprinkled throughout and now some more light effects. But that's it compared to the huge sets I shared. But this is the life of an Imagineering project. It starts with an incredible blue sky concept, but then goes through endless revisions, budget talks, and more before landing on the actual product. Now that you know all that, what do you think about this cancelled Marvel Land? Would you prefer this to the current Avengers Campus? Let me know down below. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and in our Discord. And now, as always, thank you for watching, and that's a wrap.